After one rotation, the United States has a formidable 2.3 lead. In qualifying before the team final, they believed that they had hit 20 out of 20 routines, and now they've hit 3 of 3 to take that lead. What's the response going to be for, say, Romania on the balance beam?
Well, traditionally, this is their event. This has been an event that I remember the Romanians being absolutely brilliant on back in 1976 when I watched Nadia.
Unbelievable. Very super, uber difficult. A connection right into that back with a full.
They've always excelled in their steadiness.
They started on bars, which is by far their weakest event, and like we said, in 8th place at this point in time. But balance beam, I would say most definitely their best event by far. I'll tell you though, there are so many people out there that are so negative on the rules, the change from the scoring system. Octavian Belu said he thinks it's a travesty. Should go back to the 10.0 scale.
Certainly a lot easier to understand.
A lot easier to understand. And you know what you see in this routine, and this is the problem with the rules. This is exactly what you have to do. You have to do trick, trick, trick.
And there's no artistry in between.
This is the really hard skill she does right off the top. A backflip with a full in combination, but
the challenge, Tim, you're right. It's acrobatic element after element, and the challenge is to make it look fluid and to have some form of artistry in between all of these difficult skills, and that has proven to be very difficult.
Yeah, almost impossible. There are just a handful in the world that can somewhat pull it off, but if the requirements were changed, you could see a routine that's not just difficult and hard, but you could see something that was beautiful.
Well, if you two have trouble understanding the scores, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Racea gets a 14.633.
Well, a very strong start for Romania. They didn't even come close to that score on the uneven bars.
They were 8th after the first rotation. Now back to Russia.
And this is where the Russians will make up a lot of ground. They were not wonderful on vault, certainly held back, but Viktoria will not hold back on this event.
She is wonderful. Her coach says best quality is she's so light and she flies. Oh.
2010 World Championships gold medalist.
Watch this here. That's her own move. Release right here.
Beautiful.
Wow, that was fingertips, I'll tell you. You hear her teammates in the background. Davai, davai, davai. Let's go. Come on in Russian. She doesn't need any encouragement.
Fantastic.
Because that was brilliant.
Stuck landing doesn't hurt either.
It does not. You know, like I said, I had the opportunity to talk with her mom for quite a while, and she said, you know, gymnastics was just going to happen for her because both her and her dad were gymnasts, and they both worked at a gym. So when she was 3 years old, she went with mom and dad to the gym, and it was inevitable.
But one thing we know, a 15.566 is very good for Viktoria Komova for the Russians. You can see the youth on some of these faces here. They're really just kids after all. And then there's a face like this, not a kid at all. Catalina Ponor, 7 years removed from a triple gold medal performance at the 04 Olympic Games in Athens.
And you know, one of the main reasons why I think Catalina is back is because Octavian Belu and Mariana Batang are back. And they were the coaches of the Romanians for about 25 years, and
she thrived under their leadership.
yeah, they retired. There was some criticism of Octavian Belu says how rigorous they were in training, and they had had enough and stepped away from the sport, but now are back.
Now, Elfie, to your point, again, I'm not a gymnastics expert, but it looks as though she's going, okay, I did that skill. Now I've got to do this skill, and I've got to do this skill, and there's no real flow between them, right?
Well, it's very planned out. I mean, her routine is already set, and Catalina, I was going to say, looks exactly like she did back in 2004. I haven't seen much of a difference, but more importantly, she brings value for experience to this team. At these World Championships, their main goal was to qualify for next summer and really just, you know, hit your sets and bring that experience to perhaps some of the younger athletes that are watching her at her age get the job done. But it's the rules. She does a lot of difficulty, but the most important thing is she stays up on that balance beam and will bring in a very good score.
So Ponor is back for the Romanians. When we come back, Jordyn Wieber of the United States on the uneven bars trying to expand the American League. Plus, the United States possibly gets back an all-around gold medalist for London. That story next. She might just be back for London 2012. She is the reigning Olympic all-around gold medalist, Nastia Liukin, announcing during the World Championships that she and her father have recommitted to the Olympic cause. Surprised at all, Tim?
Yeah, I am a little surprised because it has been quite a few years for Nastia Liukin. She has been all over the globe and so many different opportunities outside of the sport.
Well, and she certainly sees the possibility of what she can contribute to the United States, and that is definitely on uneven bars and balance beam. But the key for Nastia is she has to get back in incredible shape and gymnastics performance. She doesn't need to be at these World Championships. That's not what it's all about for her. It's just getting back what she used to do.
It all just reinforces how impossible it is to predict, watching these pictures, who's going to represent which country next summer in London.
Well, I don't think we'll ever see Nastia Liukin in the all-around again, but I tell you, a healthy and a Beijing-level Nastia Liukin, what she brings on balance beam and especially bars, she fills a weakness, a void that the USA has. They'd be even stronger.
Well, here as we resume in the second rotation with China, the format in the Olympic Games, is it 3 up, 3 down? All scores count just like this?
It certainly is. And the one place where the USA is a little weaker is on bars. So that's why Nastia potentially is such a huge plus for Team USA. Tell you, this young girl, though, she is really a rising star. She's classic Chinese. Beautiful form,
and like many athletes from different countries, is really getting her first opportunity to be on the world stage.
And look at that. One of her sponsors is dangling, and on the balance beam, that thing's flopping around every time she throws her arms or goes into an acrobatic movement. At one point, I think it hit her in the cheek. That has got to be extremely distracting. But I guess not for her. How the heck?
I can tell you that Ponor's score for Romania was a 15.166.
Beautiful, super difficult. Back with a full.
And that wasn't the most difficult skill. Actually did a tumbling element down the length of the balance beam right here.
Nice dismount. Good landing position. Chest is up. Just a small step. I would say that's a 1/10 of a point step. Should be.
We'll get her score in a moment. Now back to Jordyn Wieber. American Cup, no problem. Wins that. Visa National Championship, no problem. Wins that. And it was a blowout. And she will be part of the all-around championship here at these World Championships, and we'll have it for you right here on NBC tomorrow.
Is Oksana Chusovitina,
She qualified second, just behind Viktoria Komova from Russia. Oh, a little bit clunky there. She's a power gymnast. Very hard routine, but if there's one place where she's not as outstanding, it's on the uneven bars.
But a clean set.
Hey, Tim, how about what you saw in terms of nerves from the American women compared to how they're performing?
Unbelievable, because, you know, initially they were all shook up with, remember, Alicia Sacramone's injury, and some of them during the podium, they looked extremely nervous, but I have seen absolutely none of that in the team finals, and really even in the qualifying, they just phenomenal.
Well, marching into this competition, they were all smiles, and you seldom see that from a team like this. But I think they're just so well prepared, both mentally and physically, for this competition.
And that's what her coach, John Geddard, told me after the qualifying round. He said, you know, what happened with Alicia, that could have let all the air out of the balloon, but they are just too well trained.
Well, 14.766, not great, but not a major mistake, and that's all the United States needs to do right now. What prestige to walk into a building like this for World Championships and be the reigning U.S. national champion. Yao Jinnan of China puts up a 15.2 on beam. That will not help out China at all. Now this is Germany's Oksana Chusovitina. She's been at this gymnastics game since 1992, starting with the unified team, and then her son, Alistair, got sick. He needed special treatment. It could only come in Germany, so she made the big jump. And now at the age of 36, she is representing Germany and not Russia.
And if you had said 10, 15 years ago that there would be a 36-year-old woman competing and contending for a vault title at women's artistic gymnastics, the experts around the world would have said, you don't know what you're talking about, or you're stupid.
Yeah, she's proved them all wrong.
And this now is how she supports her family. 15.333 for Oksana Chusovitina. When we come back to the American story, which is in front right now. Marta Caroli and Team USA have to be happy with who they have in Tokyo. After all, they have a big lead. Back in August in St. Paul at the National Championships, it looked like they might have Shawn Johnson, but then no. Why, Tim?
Well, of course, Shawn, she is an Olympic gold medalist on this event right here, and she just started her comeback. I just think Marta felt she's not quite ready. She did say she is the next athlete in line for these World Championships, number 8.
And one thing Shawn did prove at the U.S. Championships is that she is on the rise. She had improved immensely.
2 other gymnasts in comeback mode. We now know that ice on the shoulder for Chelsea Memel at the end of the National Championships meant surgery. And then there's Rebecca Bross. Most of us saw the haunting images of her collapsing in pain. It was a patella injury. She's had surgery too and is thinking about being ready for London 2012. In Tokyo, the United States had a lead over 2 points. Sui Lu for China now on the balance beam.
I think she actually tackles the challenges of balance beam, does one of the best jobs in terms of fluidity, connecting the choreography with all these acrobatic elements.
Watch this. This is beautiful. She'll do a front flip with a half twist. Oh,
Just makes it look so effortless.
every time.
Yeah.
Every time. I did not see her make a mistake on that the entire time prior to competition and up to the qualifying at all.
I think what struck me with her work is just, you know, not just the great choreography and the skills, but everything's so light. You can barely hear her when she lands these difficult skills.
Still got to pack all that difficulty in there, though. But like you said, Elfie, she really does a wonderful job of maintaining beautiful positions throughout.
Well, she has this checklist of acrobatic skills. I think she pretty much covered them all.
Guys over on the uneven bars, Gabrielle Douglas, 14.733. Sabrina Vega, 14.366. Solid numbers that should keep the United States in front.
There was that beautiful front with a half.
Yeah, and this will be a great score for Team China. Overall, just a beautifully executed exercise, and I think had the best fluidity that I've seen so far.
Look at those eyes. They are laser beamed right to that 4-inch piece of, I don't even know what it is anymore. We used to say it was a 4-inch piece of wood, but there's a lot more technology in that thing now. But a great exercise. And look at this, landing just the smallest of steps, but that'll be a 1/10 of a point.
The building was so quiet during her performance. And we will get her score. And now this is a moment, isn't it? Koko Tsurumi of Japan.
She was the 2009 bronze medalist in the all-around, the first Japanese female to win a medal in 43 years. She also went on to win a silver on the uneven bars at those same championships.
Well, Koko is certainly the most decorated gymnast from this country. Her floor exercise, it's beautiful, it's artistic, exactly what the judges are looking for, but where she lacks is in the difficulty.
Question.
I know it's coming.
That was Spanish, was it not?
Yes.
You have a championship in your country, and you don't do floor exercise as something Japanese? I mean, I expect Elizabeth Twiddle next year to do a pub song in London. I don't know if that's going to happen, but is that a mistake, Elfie? I mean, a missed opportunity?
Yeah, I agree with you, Al, actually. I think she should have used something from her country, but you know what they did? They just simply looked at her style, her elegance, and they went with what works for her. And, you know, perhaps they hadn't thought of it. I hate to say it.
I don't know how. That's just crazy, though, because with her coming in as the most decorated Japanese, knowing that this major event the year before the Olympics is happening at home, I just...
Sure, she's a classic gymnast, though.
Yeah.
Koko Tsurumi is moving on, as are we, to the third rotation, which brings us essentially to halftime. China right now still trying to recover from that major fall off the uneven bars in the first rotation. They are ranking third. Tsurumi of Japan, she is given a 14.058. Not very good at all for the Japanese women, who just don't have the depth. Next up, the World Championships move to the third rotation. Sabrina Vega, Ali Raisman, and Jordyn Wieber of the United States will be up.